We are actually live with the Blamegirl Podcast with
Mr. Terry Wayne.
And we are featuring CP Post in the house tonight. Thank you, CP, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We are actually live with the Blamegirl Podcast with...
How do you never remember this? Turn the volume down when you're doing it.
Because we switch.
Thanks for having me.
We are actually live with the Blamegirl Podcast with...
Okay.
Every week.
It's because we switched from Facebook. Look, you don't do any of the producing.
That's true. I don't.
Okay. Sorry, guys. We are live.
But there's only so many times you can walk into a well before I'm going to say something.
Well, how'd you do it?
I would turn the volume down. The same way I do it every week.
You don't do?
No, because the same thing happens when I go to share it. When I go to share it, it pops up with the same thing. And
forgive us. Yeah. All right. So welcome, CP. How was your weekend?
Thank you. My weekend was really great. Thank you. How was your weekend?
No, you don't just get to be like...
No. You have to details.
Yeah, what'd you do
need
this
the
weekend?
dirty deets.
Oh, all right. I actually did a double show Friday and Saturday night. I was at the Library Comedy Club in Punta Gorda, and Lou Angel Wolf was the headliner. Okay. Sheena Reagan was the feature. It was great. We had a lot of fun, really fun shows.
That's great. So
as much as I love Reagan, we definitely disagree on a lot of things. It's always interesting. No, but she brought it up. It's always interesting conversations. She's been on the podcast before. Always interesting conversations with Reagan. Reminds me of a lot of my family members. So,
by the way, do you know CP Post?
No, we just met right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're new friends. We did not know each other 8 minutes ago.
Well, we'll see about the friends, but
yeah, you gotta talk to Terry before you know. He's hard to deal with, and
it's all fun, baby. We're just
you say that because of him.
No, we're just here for a good time, not a long time. It's all right. It's a fun time.
All right. How was your weekend?
My first marriage. I'm sorry. Sorry.
How was your weekend? Fun time?
Oh, me now? Because she didn't say anything. She just talked about one show. That was it. Really?
Okay.
Nothing else? No
Did
orgies
you do
after?
Anything
Nothing?
personal this weekend?
Me?
No.
I did. I spent a lot of time with my family, a lot of time with my sister and my nephews, and my brother-in-law. They're going to be moving away soon. I'm happy. I'm happy about it because I told them I've been telling them since January because of the housing market. I'm like, I work in the housing market. I'm telling you, you need to move away. They're going to make a great profit on the house when they leave, which I'm happy about. But also, the only way to really make money is to move markets. So they'll be selling this house and then moving in Nashville. So I won't get to see them as much. I won't get to see my nephews as much. And that bumps me out. But I'm also happy because, they're making a small fortune on the house. So that makes me happy.
They're still getting out pretty good on that sale then.
Yeah. Close to $250,000 they'll make on it. But
not bad.
Not bad for a middle-class family. So I'm happy that I was able to help in whatever way that I could to facilitate that. But at the same time, I'm sad because I like, I like my nephews and I can tolerate my sister and, I'm sorry to see them going that way, that they won't be 20 minutes down the road, but
I know you'll miss your family because I know you're very family oriented.
Yeah, but I don't like to spread it around, You
don't like to spread what around?
Huh?
You said you don't like to spread it around. Oh, that you are a family.
That I have emotions or that, it's like I actually care about people. You know how I am. So, yeah.
All right. Well, my weekend was...
Nobody cares.
Thank you for that.
Don't worry, CP. We do that same joke every week. It's crazy.
Yeah, we do.
It's kind of a running gag.
Because it's true. Usually,
nobody ever asks the black woman how her weekend went.
It's very rarely that anyone cares about me. It's fine.
Didn't I ask like at the very beginning, and you're like, no, don't ask me.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that part. So I forgot to mention the running gag.
I didn't say don't ask me. I don't remember you asking me, but usually
she did.
Let me say this. Usually the women will ask. Women will be like, how was your weekend? You know, they'll say it right back, but
the dudes never do. Never.
Just like that.
Never as a male guest ever asked, like, how was your weekend? Gee.
No, there has been.
Like, it's never.
There has, but just not.
Has there?
They're few and far between.
Well, then I have totally forgotten them.
So my weekend was pretty good. I on Friday I went to go see Tony Hinchcliffe at the Improv. That was an interesting experience. Because we've been talking about him a lot lately on the podcast. I tried to go to do Kill Tony in Austin, and when Shannon Lalim was on the show, we talked about DJ Hans Kim a lot. He was there, and Jimmy Schubert went up. So I guess him and Tony Hinchcliffe are pretty good friends. So I caught up with Jimmy at the Improv at Tony Hinchcliffe's show, and then Saturday I had a show at Soso Cafe, but I did a drop-in at Corey Cognac's show at I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's right down the street from me, Coastal Karma Brewing Company. And then I went over to the Soso Cafe, and it was a lot of fun doing both of those. So, yeah. And then Sunday I did all the show prep and producing stuff that I do for the show.
All the things you do. I've never said you don't do things.
I spend hours getting ready for this, and sometimes the guests, and I know Terry don't even read the show prep. Do you know what we're talking about tonight, Terry?
Of course I do.
Okay. All right, let's get to it then. Y'all ready to do some blaming?
I am.
Well, you guys seem to be blaming each other.
We argue and we fight. That's why I told you in the beginning, I'm like, be yourself. It's fine. These are on, the way I always describe this podcast is, or at least the way that I would like to think about it is, when you go to a mic or you go to a show or whatever, and then all the comics just naturally kind of, congregate outside the venue to smoke and drink and have conversations. Yeah. That's what this is in podcast form. That's it. It's just comics just having those real conversations, giving their real opinions. And arguing sometimes. It's fine. It's fine to argue.
From the blames all the way to when we're just interviewing you. Because, you get into like conversations outside of comedy shows too, like serious conversations.
If it was up to me and I didn't have my mom here, I would just let this be totally unstructured and just let it, I'd have every guest on mushrooms. Your mom? Huh? I think you know who the mom in this podcast situation is. You're the one with the structure, and I'm the one that blows it up. So,
yeah. Well, I know how to do a podcast. Sorry.
Speaking of blowing it up, come on, that was a good one.
That was a good.
I don't know where you're going.
That was a good segue.
The first topic.
Oh, okay. I got you. I follow you now.
Speaking of blowing it up.
Speaking of blowing it up. Nuclear documents were found at Maralago in that top secret stash that had.
Yeah, see, you can't be unprepared and drop a segue like that.
I want to know who's to blame. How did he get nuclear documents from point A to Mar-a-Lago? Who's to blame, guys? Go.
Be the fucking president. That's how you do that.
Well, I have some very strong opinions about this.
Go ahead.
If I may.
Please.
I'm just going to come right out and say it. I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but that probably does not need to be said at this point. Who's to blame? I think who's to blame are a lot of spineless congressmen and government officials who cannot speak truth to power and will not stand up to him, and allowed him to just barrel over them. And they are all yes men, and they're all just looking to grease their own pockets, get reelected, and they'll do anything for him.
You mean like say like Mitch McConnell or Ted Cruz or?
All of them.
No, Mitch McConnell actually showed a little bit of a spine recently.
Oh, a modicum.
Well, first of all,
like one cell.
First of all,
he's invertebrate. First
take.
of all,
Like,
he's an invertebrate.
He's an invertebrate. First of all,
well, let's just be honest. First of all, that's not really a super hot take. You know what I mean? Like, because in this society we live in, you're either for Trump or against him. Like, Republican, Democrat, doesn't really, independent, doesn't matter what you are. You're either for Trump or against him. You're either for, authoritarianism or you're not. You know what I mean? So, like, I mean, it's not a super hot take to be like
authoritarianism. That just blows my mind.
I understand. I get it. But to say there aren't Republicans that have a spine, that's crazy. Mitt Romney has famously stood up firmly against all the illegality and all the lies and all the rhetoric, which has made me like him even more, to be honest. It's made me like Mitt Romney even more.
How do you think Mitch McConnell had a modicum? Did he stand up against Trump on this?
Yeah,
issue?
No, he actually did.
On this issue.
And not only did he stand up against Trump, but he stood up against Trump and caught Trump's ire. About a week and a half ago, Trump was posting on his Truth Social about how Mitch McConnell has lost his way and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And you know how he does. He's going to call you names. He's going to say you're illegitimate and, you got won over by the deep state or whatever. You know what it is? It's always you're either with me or you're against me. Like, it's always so black and white in this world. Huh?
All right. I said Mitch McConnell's always been deep state. I don't know. Part of me thinks
I wouldn't say he's deep state. He's deep Republican. He's conservative.
The deep of the state. But anyway, I think the American people are to blame because that's what you get when you elect. We elected him. That's what you get when you elect a reality TV star.
I can't.
Let me finish, Terry.
All right.
Someone who will not
know where you're going.
Not take seriously our fucking safety.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
he took these documents, another country's nuclear documents, and they were found in his fucking house. And now they are realizing that he had boxes over at his golf course in New Jersey. What is he hiding? Who was he giving the information to? He put our national security in jeopardy.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever reason, right?
Yeah. 100%.
I'm gonna let y'all finish before I start.
We are to blame here. I'm
gonna let y'all finish. Before I start,
every person who thought that it'd be cute to vote for him, and every person who was like, my vote don't count. Look, democracy is not a fucking spectator sport like Tom Hartman says all the time. It's not. You got to participate. And if you don't, you're like people like this. And look how serious this has gotten. And if you don't take it serious, fuck you.
But
you're almost there.
I agree with you, Giovanni. But also, I think not only that, I think you have to even go back a little further than that. I believe that the reason why we're in the condition that we're in right now is because
of Barack Obama.
No, it's not Barack Obama. I believe that our educational system in this country is absolutely trash. We did not put enough money into education.
Can't argue with that.
And if we had a better educated country, a country that understood about civics and government and the Constitution and the laws that govern this country, if people had a really good grasp of geography and history and all the basics, we would not be in the condition we're in right now.
Look, I am so glad you said that because that is so true. Like,
because I'm just stretching out and getting ready.
They want to keep the American populace dumbed down.
Look,
you know what happens to dumb down people? You get them to join a fucking cult.
Yes.
No, the only reason.
Go ahead, Terry.
Let's just get real here.
Go ahead,
the only reason that Donald Trump got elected is because there was about 20 to 25% of the voting public that just thought it might be fun, just thought it might be cool, just thought it might, let's just throw somebody in there like a regular guy.
Like I said,
yeah, the regular billionaire guy who was the host. Yeah, it's so stupid, but they fell for it. And I know at least 4 different people in my life that voted for Donald Trump in 2016 that said that exact same thing. Just like, let's just try a wild card. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And you got what happens. And they regretted it later. And literally 100%, all 4 of them came back to me later. I think it was like between 2018, 2019. And they said, yeah, we fucked up on that one. That was bad. But that's what it was. It was the WWE. It was the WWE. Everybody knows it's fake, but they just thought it was fun. They just thought it was fun. Like, and then they had to get snapped back into reality. Like, oh shit, we actually need adults at the wheel sometimes. Sometimes we actually need an adult to steer the bus for us so that we can have a good time. Okay. And I think that was a lesson that a lot of people learned the hard way.
Let me also throw this in here. Do you think the Saudis or the Russians might be to blame for him trying this?
Nah.
Oh, I believe Putin was definitely behind him getting elected in 2016. Absolutely.
Not behind his election, but him trying the documents. I'm still thinking they got something on this motherfucker, like the urine tape. He is willing to try this. Like, he's gonna end up in prison, and he's gonna roll in there and act like he's sick and elderly and frail when that happens. Like,
that's salacious. That's salacious thinking about the PP tape, because that just sells clicks. Is all that does. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the
Trump a lot of money when no banks would lend him money. Putin and his oligarchs lent Trump a bunch of money.
And that's what I was about to say, was it has nothing to do with the PP tape or any embarrassment. He's already been embarrassed.
Why would you believe it? Why would you not
put himself on the world scale to get embarrassed? He doesn't care about embarrassment. It bounces off of him. Like exactly. It's never going to penetrate. It's just going to be water off a duck's back when it comes to embarrassment. But money, on the other hand, is very much more important. And like she said, the Russian government and Russian banks lent him a lot of money. They not only that, but they also gave him a lot of sweetheart deals for hotels and resorts.
So you think that's what they're holding over his head, and that's why
I'm saying that you scratch each other's backs. That's what I'm saying. And but more importantly, with the documents that he actually has, honestly, at the base core of it, he might have thought about shit like that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he did anything like that. He might have thought about it, but I think there's one piece of evidence that shows the truth, which is he has a classified document folder that's empty.
Yes.
But he put it in the glass case at Maralago. Even though it's empty and it doesn't have anything in it, it just says classified along the front. He just kind of thinks it's fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like, he's that kind of infantile male that just thinks like, oh, this is cool. See, I was the president. Here's the classified folders, you know?
That's also a possibility, but let me just get in here. We got a lot of comments.
Let's
we got a lot of comments from our boy Jason. We got to.
All right, here we go.
What's
fucking Jason got
he calls
to say?
CP a good match. He says, what nuclear documents? The nuclear documents were not classified. They were articles in magazines. Oh, I guess Jason.
No, it was not. Those were
classified.
It was classified documents on foreign powers' nuclear capabilities. So no, that's completely false.
Multiple levels of classified documents. There was red level, blue level, and orange, which is the most classified of all the classified documents. It's so classified, they have to bring people in just to carry the folders around. That's how classified it is.
Well, it's not. It's somebody just that doesn't understand what they're dealing with. I was talking to somebody else earlier, and they said, oh, it was probably Ukraine, which is insane because no, not Ukraine. because they'd have to be a nuclear power first. You know what I mean? And they're not a superpower. So to me, when I hear somebody say that they've got classified documents on nuclear assets of other foreign nations, I think of Russia, I think of China, I think of North Korea, I think of
I think of Ukraine.
I think of England. I think, yeah, but here's the thing. Given the history of Donald Trump and his administration and the North Korean government, including Kim Jong-un, I would assume it would be that. I would assume it would be details on North Korea's nuclear capabilities.
Why would he? You think he would take those from?
I think he would take anything that it wasn't bolted down if they didn't stop him. He thinks the whole president's thing is just there's no responsibility for him with being president. He just thinks it's fucking cool.
Is number one, how much can I make? How much money can I make on this if I sell this to
that is number one with him.
That's number one. Number two is the orange asshole is the biggest narcissist that anyone has ever seen, possibly since Hitler, maybe even beyond. And
all right, that's not accurate.
Very true.
I'm just saying I hate the Hitler context. That's
if
not
we
the same.
gave him the leeway, you don't think he'd be Hitler?
The Han, Caligula. I mean, where should we go with this?
If we gave him the leeway, you don't think
you'd be closer to Caligula?
What we have now, if he was in 20, 30, 40s, you don't think he would just be like Hitler? I think he would.
No, I don't think he'd kill 8 million people. I think he would.
I think he would.
I don't think so. Because there's not enough journalists.
He could kill someone on.
There's not enough. No, he could kill some folks.
He's a psychopath.
I'm not saying he couldn't kill some folks.
He doesn't have the balls to kill anybody himself, but he would.
Oh no.
No, he's too much of a pussy.
No, I don't think.
But he would definitely start setting up SS and special.
The Proud Boys,
the Proud Boys,
the Oathkeepers.
Yeah, all of them.
Okay, and that brings me to our next blame, guys, the Oathkeepers.
Yes.
They were there on January 6th, and their database has revealed that a lot of law enforcement, firefighters, and public servants were members or interested in the organization. Who's to blame? That's kind of scary. Like, I don't want a firefighter that's an Oathkeeper come in to fight a fire and like bring me out. Like, are they going to save me?
Well, I think a lot of those organizations, law enforcement, FBI, I think they have a history of being very much more right-leaning than left-leaning. So I think that it's not that much of a stretch to say that you have people like that in those organizations.
Well, let's take a grain of salt here because, for instance, my brother was a firefighter for a long time. Now he may be a little more right-leaning, but he is definitely somebody I would consider more of an independent, because he does have the wherewithal to look at people and just say, okay, I believe in this. What do you got? You know what I mean? And just he looks at the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Boberts and all those and rolls his eyes as well. Even though he may be a little bit more right-leaning than absolute center. But I mean, people are people. Like, I don't like when anybody classifies any one particular group of people and then just paints them with a broad brush, because that's not true. I was an EMT. I worked with the fire department a lot. You get a lot of different personalities, and I would say there's much more of a bro atmosphere than anything else, political for that matter. I look at it like a 90s bar, like no politics, no religion, and they just kind of bro out. It's not like that.
It's not like that. And I'm gonna tell you why I personally know that. I work with someone who reviews police departments and actually fire departments, and they are fucking racist. So are the
Okay.
Well, yeah.
so are the oath keepers. So that brings me back. Like, why does the oath keepers attract these public servants? Why are racists attracted to being public servants if the public isn't all white? Like, I don't get it. Like, stop doing those jobs, you know?
Well,
No fucking guns.
I mean,
I don't know. Like,
look, that is a broad generalization as well. It's not that.
no, it's just in your nature to apologize for this shit because you
No,
can't.
I'm not apologizing for
Yeah,
anything.
you
If
are.
just
You're
if you'll listen first before you respond, I'm not apologizing for anybody. I'm saying that it's not that everybody who takes a position of power has an agenda. It's just that people with agendas are attracted to positions of power. So when you have that, you have a large swath of people that are just looking to make a living and maybe serve their community and do something. But really, they're just there for the pension. You know what I mean? And then you have another group of people that's there specifically so they can carry a gun and tell people what to do, or that they can be a community activist. And they use that position because they're drawn to it specifically so they can push their agenda.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
she's gone.
I agree. I don't like painting a whole swath of people in one particular. I'm not about that. I don't say all. I'm very careful with the words I use. I say sometimes it just seems like those organizations tend to, like, I was talking to a woman recently whose husband is in the FBI, and she said he's actually considering getting out of the FBI because of what's gone on with Trump and getting his group against them because of how they raided Mar-a-Lago. And she said, it's crazy that they're now attacking the FBI. She said, because the FBI is predominantly very Republican. She said, it's like they're attacking their own.
yeah, I mean, Republicans were so pro law enforcement until they become the feds.
No, but don't say Republicans, because
no,
that's
not. Don't tell me what to say. Stop.
No, I'm saying that's misinformation.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. I'm gonna tell you why. Because their primary
You're losing allies.
Their primary choice was Donald Trump. They largely you're
gonna have to get over that.
Supported Donald Trump. He was elected as president. I don't know if you remember that. So
yeah, I do, but you're gonna have to get over
Republicans, Terry. Don't tell me not to.
You're gonna have to get over it, okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get over the fact that they elected Donald Trump, because here's the problem with that.
Here's
the problem with what you're doing.
Donald Trump as well.
Here's the problem with
this now.
Here's the problem with what. Look, nobody hates Donald Trump more than I do. I know the family. I've met the family. I've been to Maralago more times than I can count. I'm just saying, here's the problem with what you're doing. Right now, what you're doing is you're saying there's no path back for them. You're pushing them more into a corner instead of embracing them and just saying, instead of embracing them and saying, hey, you made a mistake, move forward. You're holding an entire 40% of the country.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying you're holding.
I am doing that. Yes, you're right.
I haven't even said what you're doing. I'm saying you're holding 40% of the voting populace in the country hostage, and you're saying, no, you fucked up before, so you don't matter anymore. Which is only going to inflame the issue. Do you want to?
I never said they don't matter anymore.
I have said this to you many times before. Do you really want to fix the problem? Do you really want to fix the problem, or do you just want to get vengeance?
I do want to fix the problem, but they need to realize that they are fucking part of it.
Yeah, exactly. But they can't do that as long as you're still shooting arrows at them. They've already lost.
I'm not shooting arrows at anyone who's admitted that.
They lost 2020.
Yeah,
they should lose 2022.
They don't think they lost. They think they won.
Because according to CP,
but that is a very small percentage
that they won.
There's a very small percentage of conservatives that actually believe in the election denial. Okay, there really is. It's not the majority of it. And I can tell you that just based on my own personal experience, it is not the majority of it.
Here's my question to Republicans. Your party was hijacked. It was hijacked by an authoritarian dictator and his group of people that drank Kool-Aid and got brainwashed. So your lovely Republican Party, by the way, no longer exists. It's gone. It's now the party of MAGA. What I say to the more moderate Republicans, and they are out there, I've met a few of them.
Apparently they're not, because you're both painting everybody with such a broad brush.
There's a few, there is a percentage of what
there's not a few, there's a lot.
Normal. Okay, here's what I say to them. Where are you? Come out from behind the bushes, get in line, use your voices, and take your party back. I want to hear from these people. Where are they? Stand up for yourselves. Get your party back. It's been hijacked.
They I don't know what they're gonna do, but that you know what
the thing that makes me the most mad is that they don't speak out against the lunatics.
CP, we talked about this last week, and I think Sarah Palin's loss is like a swing in the pendulum, if you will. Sarah Palin's loss to the native Alaskan, I think, is a swing in the pendulum, and we're going the other way. So, but if you are still on the Trump train, if you're still Republican, and not speaking out against him, you're trash. I'm sorry, you are, and you're a big part of the problem.
Okay, but here's the thing. What you're doing
I'm sorry your family watches the show, Terry.
It's got nothing to do with it. It has, first of all, none of my family watches the show. Second of all,
thank God.
Second of all, no, but I'm not going to be ignorant to the fact that what you're doing is just as inflammatory as what they're doing. You're forgetting the fact that these are your don't shrug it off until you hear the whole thing. I'm just saying what you're doing is just as inflammatory. Okay, you're acting as a leftist the same way they are as a rightist, but you're only basing this off the fringes of both sides, just the way that they'll pick out one particular instance of a leftist gone crazy or PC gone mad, and they'll throw it in your face. You're picking their fringes and you're throwing it in their face. And I'm just saying, look, if you want to if you want to burn everything down, you're doing a great job.
It's their party now. It's their party now.
It's not their party.
It is.
Not. Their party is fractured.
Is their party now. That's why.
No, look, is that why Liz Cheney is not in office anymore?
Will not be a formidable opponent for.
I'm just saying, is that why Liz Cheney isn't in office anymore? Is that why Liz Cheney isn't in office anymore? Is that why? Because they're all the same?
Yeah, no, that's why Liz Cheney is not in office anymore. It's because they did not like that she stood up against him, and she said that he didn't win the election. Yes, that's exactly right, Terry.
I understand.
She dared to speak the truth because she was the only person.
Yeah, but the fact that's not. She wasn't the only person.
She was voted out of office because she.
Six Republicans in the Senate. 6 Republicans in the Senate voted to convict. Okay, so it wasn't just her. Okay, but the problem is,
and where are those other 5 today? Where are they? Where are they?
Are they still in office?
They've either all lost their position.
Okay. This is not. Yeah. Okay. We're not doing this. This isn't gotcha journalism. We're not.
You brought it up.
First of all. No, I'm not. I'm just saying a scorched earth policy is fucked on both sides. I don't really give a damn whether it's leftist or rightist. I don't give a shit. A scorched earth policy ruins everybody. That's it. Okay? Period. I don't care if it's them or if it's you. But scorched earth is scorched earth and everybody dies.
What about when they scorched the earth? What about
it doesn't matter.
He did
Somebody has to be the adult. Somebody has to be the adult in the room. And it ain't gonna be them.
It ain't gonna be the Republicans because they can't act like adults.
That's what I just said.
They elected a this guy in a fucking dictator, a authoritarian, a mobster, a grifter, a criminal.
Yeah, we
It's
all fucking know
like
this isn't
a
breaking
reality
news.
TV
It's
star.
not
Like,
you're not breaking any news here.
all right,
What I'm saying is we have to move forward at this point, and you can't just keep bringing up Donald Trump and throwing it in their face and saying, see, this is why you're fucked up, because all it's going to do is harden their position, and it's going to make it worse. Do you want to fix the problem, or do you want revenge? Which one is it?
I wanted to answer the question about who the blame was for the Oath Keepers is really what I was trying to do.
You're gonna make more Oath Keepers with that.
We went way off topic on that. It's like I mean, when it comes to the Oath Keepers, the public servant, why they join that organization, I think that it's because I don't know. I think for some reason they have hero complexes when they get into jobs like that. And they think that I'm going to keep oath and I'm going to protect America. And then they end up in some racist cult. So
jobs like that? What? No, politicians are there for
firefighters, public service.
Politicians are there for one reason and one reason only. Their first and only job is to win.
I didn't say politicians, Terry. I said law
I'm getting there. I know, but can I get 30 seconds on the clock before you interrupt me again? I'm saying that politicians are there for one reason and one reason only, and that is to win. That's a politician's job. That's their first and only job. If they don't win, they can't do anything else. So they'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll throw whatever shit they can in the wind as long as they think that it's going to keep them going. You think Marjorie Taylor Greene actually believes there's Jewish space lasers? No, she doesn't fucking know. Any reasonable person would be like, no, it's fucking crazy. But when you drag that down to a common man's level, your firefighters, your municipal servants, your police and whatnot, yes, there's going to be wackadoos. There's going to be wackadoos as opposed to what? Fucking plumbers? Yeah, there's going to be wackadoos in everywhere you find it. What we need to focus on when it comes to civil servants is weeding out these whackers, weeding out these people that are only there for that. Because look, it's a position of authority, and that is always going to be a draw to the crazies. Always, whatever crazy there is, there's always going to be a draw for somebody that has a wackadoo idea, and they're going to want to implant it into as many people as possible. So they're always going to be drawn to positions of authority.
All right, CP, do you have any last thoughts on this topic about who's to blame for why Oath Keepers are, public servants and officers and firefighters? Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said about having that complex about wanting to protect the country, wanting to protect everybody, wanting to carry a gun, it seems to, for whatever reason, it seems to be a similar mentality for people that are in those crazy, insane organizations. They just seem to marry well together.
I know, it's crazy.
Well, let's not just throw it on them, because honestly, Gio, if I was to call you tomorrow and say, hey, I got your new job, and guess what? You get to hold a badge and a gun and tell everybody what to do. You would love that shit. If you got to tell everybody how to live,
because I have my own business. I don't want to go be a public servant. I don't. I've been.
It's not about being a public servant.
And if I were
it's about
a public
having
servant
influence.
again, it would be in the teaching capacity.
It would. I'm just saying. If I gave you a job where you got to have influence over the way people acted and thought, you would definitely take it.
No, you know what job I would love is to be a judge.
Yeah. Because there's no authority there.
Because I will tell you who's to blame. Right. All right. We got some more blames. We got into these. These were CP. You've been you've sparked some debate. Thank you for that. Let's see where y'all feel about this. And this is hitting home a little bit because I just got onto OnlyFans. Sex workers are having their bank accounts canceled Who's to blame, guys?
Federal government, obviously. It's a federal law. So
what's a federal law?
Prostitution. You can be charged with a felony. So that's a federal
but not
law.
Pornography.
But
no, I'm not disagreeing. First of all, let me just
go ahead, CP.
Well, no, I was talking.
Let our guest be a polite.
Well, I mean, you interrupted me. You're the one being the arbitrator.
Also be a polite host.
That's fine. I'm just saying I have been outspoken for the last decade. I've been outspoken on the fact that prostitution should be legal and regulated.
That's fine.
Nationwide. They've done it in Australia. They've done it in Germany. They've done it in plenty of places throughout the world with great success.
Great. We're not even talking about prostitution. So,
we actually are talking about prostitution because these sex workers, the reason why their bank accounts are being seized is the same reason why that dispensaries and weed allocators, there's the same reason why their bank accounts were being seized once the legalization started by state, because then the DEA would step in California and say, oh, well, it's legal in California, but it's still a felony. It's still felony nationally. So if you go to a bank and put your money in there, that's federally controlled. So they seized a lot of money from the dispensaries the same way. How is that any different?
It's not prostitution.
Okay. It's a difference between a state
being
on OnlyFans. I'm not a prostitute because I'm on OnlyFans.
Being on OnlyFans is absolutely not the same thing as prostitution.
Thank you.
The fact that it's not legal federally, but it is on a state level, should not cause workers to have their bank accounts shut down. That is absolutely absurd.
Is this our puritanical society at work again?
It is. It's our ridiculous puritanical birth defect that this country was born with, sadly, as our other birth defects that we have. And I don't know how we ever shake it. I really don't. I've lost a lot of faith in that. I'm sorry to say, I'm a little bit of a negative Nelly on that one, but it's absolutely ridiculous that people can't buy marijuana and have bank accounts and sell it and sell things on OnlyFans and all that. It's just BS. It's puritanical BS.
Jason, and again, real quick, Terry, Jason says prostitution is not immoral.
Yeah, I heard. I see.
Using a prostitute behind your partner's back is. And I agree.
Well, that's absolutely true. And I couldn't agree with Jason more there. I don't believe in cheating. We've talked about this many times before. I don't believe in cheating, but I also believe that prostitution should be legal. It's the world's oldest profession. There's nothing wrong with it. It should be regulated for the health and safety of both the providers and the fucking users of it. It should be regulated and taxed. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
But let's be honest.
I think it kind of highlights. But my point is, I think it kind of highlights the problem with the United States as a whole when it comes to states' rights. Because here it is, we have 13 states where marijuana is legal, and yet we have another fucking 33 states where people are still in prison for something that's legal in a quarter of the country. It's insane the way that we work things. We're gonna seize some OnlyFans accounts and blah blah blah, and yet you can go to Nevada and legally fuck a hooker, no problem today. So it's a constant mismatch. And it's also I almost feel like it's built this way specifically to have these cracks where the government can come in and make some free money and take some free people and push their agenda, whatever way it may be, right or left.
So you think Wells Fargo's canceling these accounts based on the government? Why?
No, I'm saying that Wells Fargo is doing it based on the cracks that have been built into the system.
But why are they doing it?
Because where Wells Fargo is not doing that? They're not closing down the Bunny Ranch's account in Nevada because that's fucking legal. They're not allowed to do it.
Instagram shut down Pornhub's account on Instagram. Just FYI.
Well, that's a private organization. That doesn't
Let's
matter.
get our guest thoughts. CP, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, there's always this argument of our federal government versus the state government. I mean, just because you happen to live in the state of Nevada, you can use prostitutes. Because you happen to be in the state of Florida, you can't. It is ridiculous that you would go to prison in one state and in another state it's perfectly legal and you can carry about your business normally. There is this constant push and pull between the federal law and the state level laws. And I don't know what the answer is to that. I unfortunately, we now have an extremely right-wing, thank you, Donald Trump, Supreme Court, and they will be making the laws for the federal government. They will be making the laws and taking away people's rights, and that's only going to make things worse. To be honest, we're probably going to lose more rights.
And Jason, I never went mainstream, so fuck off.
Yeah, Jason's in. He's got a lot to say about this.
I got to argue with conservatives on one hand and the liberals on the other. Both of them hate.
Yeah, Terry's just trying to save face. I don't know what he's. I mean, anyway.
What?
I won't.
What? This is my life. I got to fight both sides.
But Jason says that he's just cracking jokes. But he says once your mom and Blame go cam, it means it should be shut down. Thank you, Jason.
Okay. I mean, look, there's probably some influence coming from the porn industry because remember, every dollar that goes towards OnlyFans pages is a dollar that's not going towards them. So you always have to remember that fact. OnlyFans is, renewable energy, and Pornhub and YouPorn, those are fossil fuels, so they're always going to fight with one another. And one of those people has more money than the other.
I just don't understand why Wells Fargo would shut you down for being an adult entertainer. It's not, and then again, like I said, it's not prostitution. You're putting content online, sexual content, and people.
Well, some of it's prostitution.
How is it?
Have you been on OnlyFans? Somebody's getting fucked somewhere, for money, without a license, without production, without
If you do that, you're it's like pornography. It's not prostitution.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about it, is it all comes down to the bureaucracy. Yeah.
So speaking of pornography or prostitution, the infamous kimk and rayj sex tape seems like it was nothing more than a scripted reality. Y'all, 2 days ago, rayj was going off on Instagram talking about he got the contract. He said that they had 3 locations they were going to shoot the porno in. They were supposed to sell it to Vivid, and that Kris Jenner watched all 3 of the videos just to choose which one Kim looked better in. Who's to blame?
I blame Bruce.
Just to answer Jason here, you're absolutely right. They do want their cut. The difference between pornography and OnlyFans is the government gets their cut or they don't get their cut. And that's the same as taxes and anything else, Sorry, didn't mean to ruin that. I was just answering Jason.
So you're just saying capitalism is to blame?
I'm saying, of course, capitalism is to blame. Capitalism is to blame for most things, to be honest. I think that I can't remember who said it, but I love this quote where it said, capitalism is a completely flawed system, but it is the best one we have, which I totally agree with.
No, it's not. The best system would be a blended economic system, definitely.
Well, okay. Well, thanks for that, but I'm going to finish. What I'm saying is capitalism is a great system if it's regulated. But if it's unregulated, then it's the fucking Wild West. And it just depends on who has the most money. And they get the best lawyers. They get the best accountants. They get the best wraparounds. They get the best, you know what I mean? Like, it's a question of resources after that. It has nothing to do with the best product. And that's the problem, is the system was formed that the best product would win.
All right.
But we've all lost because of it, because the best product doesn't win anymore. The most ruthless wins, not the best product,
All
which
right.
is why we had VHS instead of beta, even though beta was
We
a
got
lot
it.
better.
So you think
We had
it's ruthless
VHS.
capitalism? CP, what do you think here?
This is such a complicated thing. It really is. I mean, the internet is not, it's not regulated enough. I think technology moved so quickly and so fast without enough regulation, that our fundamentals of capitalism couldn't catch up to how quickly things were moving. It became like the Wild West. And I think OnlyFans is in that category. And I think that maybe we don't have laws that can really match that level of technology.
But what do you think about the Kim K sex tape, mom putting it like choosing, which is, you think Kim, Chris, you think capitalism? I mean, OnlyFans does demonstrate how profitable that industry is for sure, but what do you think regarding Kim and rayj and why they put that out as like, and then passed it off as like, oh, this was a leaked sex tape. It was never
You know,
leaked tape.
What are you, daft? It's because they wanted to make money.
Right, yeah.
What are you, crazy?
I was talking to CP, and that's
okay, you can talk to CP, but it's crazy.
CP thinks that, yes, I who doesn't love the Kardashians? Okay, I'm not a big fan. I really am not. I got to be honest. But
but they weren't shit back then.
But I think that they put that tape out and that whole thing went down, and it was definitely to make money, and they have a level of narcissism. They like to continue to be in the public eye. They like to be the topic of discussion. They like to be in the news all the time, and things like this cause that. They love it. They eat it up. They're, I'm not a huge fan. I realize they have their place. They have, people enjoy them. They're an entertainment business, but it was, yes, based in money.
They're an entertainment empire, and that empire is based on Kim Kardashian's vagina. Okay, because they weren't shit. They weren't shit. That's what I just said. What did I just say? It's based on Kim Kardashian's vagina. When that sex tape got released, and I remember when it got released, she was not the keynote. She was not the selling agent of that. rayj was, because that's when rayj was famous. rayj used to be famous, and it was his sex tape with Kim Kardashian. That is what propelled them into the next level. Then it turned into Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Then it turned into a pop culture empire. But it was, in the beginning, you know what Kim Kardashian was doing for a living when she made that tape?
Styling.
She was doing makeup. She was doing makeup and styling. That's what she was doing. She was nobody. She was nothing. She was the daughter of one of OJ's lawyers. That's it. Nobody knew her name.
Jason has a point in the chat. He says Paris Hilton is a cultural leader, and he is right, because she came out with her sex tape, and I don't know if it was on accident or the one night in Paris or whatever, if that was by accident or by real leak, because now we see that these celebrities really put their sex tapes out. But I think
it was on purpose.
I think that they saw that her sex tape did crazy good, and it made her a star, and Kim wanted the same thing, and it made
who's to blame? I blame Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. Their sex tape.
Oh, you just stole
no. Their sex tape got out legitimately because somebody stole it and tried to make money off of it. However, people like Paris Hilton, people like Kim Kardashian, people like Kris Kardashian, they realized the potential in that kind of notoriety. They saw the jump in Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee's career, both after that came out, which was a real theft. It really was. I do agree with that. It was a real theft. Somebody tried to make money off of them, but they saw the potential in that, and then they just copied it. Paris Hilton, do I think that she actually that was an accident? No. Do I think Kim Kardashian's was an accident? Absolutely not. They just took the blueprint that Pamela Lee and Tommy took, and they just ran with it. They just ran with the ball.
Can I just say one thing about the Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson leaked sex tape? Just one thing.
What's that? Yeah, go ahead. What's up?
He's huge.
He's not that big.
He's huge. Oh my God.
It's not that big.
For a white boy?
You know what? I have not even watched.
He's like an inch bigger than me. That's like not that big.
Terry, shut up. Okay, when we get off here, I'm gonna go look it up. Have
you never seen it?
Seriously, it for a white boy?
Okay,
no, that's a myth.
I saw that video. In a lot of that video, he is fluffed in a lot of that video. Okay, I can fluff too. We can all fluff.
Jason says it wasn't his. Jason says it wasn't really Tommy's crank.
No, that was a.
That was Tommy's crank.
No, that was
definitely Tommy's crank.
When he was steering the boat with it, when he wrapped it over the wheel and he's steering the boat with it, like that was a real dick, dude.
Steering the boat? What?
He was
steering the boat with it.
Yeah, they were out on a boat.
He was steering the boat with his dick.
It is absolutely.
I'm trying to tell you, if you shut up.
I took a really good look. I took a really good, long, hard look at that.
No, they were both naked. They were out on a boat on a lake, and he just kind of flopped his dick, his fluffed penis over the wheel, and he was just steering the boat with his fluffed penis back and forth. But we all know how to fluff. Every man knows how to fluff it up before you go on camera.
It was fluff. Terry's like letting us know it wasn't. No, it was fluff.
Well, I'm just saying, every man knows that term. Every man. These two women I'm talking to don't know it.
This is enough penis talk for me.
A very broad, sweeping picture. I don't like to say everybody,
Yeah, okay. Well, every man, I'm sorry, but every man knows the fluff term. We all know what it is. If you got to go into the doctor, you got to go on camera, you fluff it up a little bit. You make it look presentable.
We got to move it along. We're already at 8. This has been a great discussion, CP. We don't usually go through 8 with the original topics. So you've been a great guest.
Oh, geez. Wow. We're already at 8.
We are already at 8, bitch. Yes. So CP, you do comedy all over. Welcome, CP. She does comedy all over Florida. And she recently performed in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. So she's a traveling comedian. CP, how long have you been doing comedy?
I started in May of 2019. But
what? Okay. 2019? I was expecting long. That's why I was like asking you if you knew Terry.
No, 3 years.
Okay, that's awesome. And you're already traveling to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York.
Yeah.
How did you get started?
Kind of a long story, but I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version. So I have a very big theater background. I've done a lot of theater. I've done a lot of improv. And about 13 years ago, I took a course at McCurdy's. I loved it. I did a couple performances, but I didn't really go anywhere with it because my kids were really young. And then I always wanted to get back into it. And I met this really amazing girl about 10, 12 years ago. We were in the theater together. And I said, if I ever get a sign from the universe to go back into comedy, I'm just going to jump at it. And she and I lost touch. We found each other about 5 years later, and she said she was doing comedy. She said she just started like a month earlier. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to do it with you. And that's Ginger Kelly. And so she kind of like brought me with her, and we started doing open mics, and then we just started doing shows, and the rest is history.
That's awesome.
That's
so
quick version.
Since you've been doing it, what's become your favorite venue to perform at? And you cannot say the Improvs.
Oh, no, I love Visani's. I performed there several times. I really like.
We were there together a few weeks ago. Yes,
we were.
Contest.
Yes. I love The Blind Lion in Coco. I recently did the library in Punta Gorda. Love that room. I've done it several times. I got to host at Porky's. That was great. I love Porky's.
So which one's your favorite though?
Um,
I'll pin you down.
oh, it's so hard.
Vasani? Or?
No, I'm so hard right now. She said pin you down. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you would be
Her OnlyFans look.
my favorite, I'm gonna say Porky's.
Okay. And Porky's is where?
In St. Cloud.
Shout out to Porky's in St. Cloud. We got to check that out. All right. So it seems like, I mean, you travel. You've only been doing this since 2019. What's that? 3 years?
Yeah.
Where have you gone? You've gone to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. Tell us about your travels. What did you do? Were you on tour or how did you?
Well, I'm
doing open mics or?
Yeah, no, I mean, I performed all over Florida doing shows. I performed everywhere from the Comedy Zone in Fort Walton Beach, which is way out in the Panhandle, at this place called The Block. I've performed in Orlando, Miami, Boca, Fort Lauderdale, Naples, Fort Myers, Tampa, just literally all over Florida. But that trip that I took a couple months ago to New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, I actually was doing a drag show because I perform as a drag king. And I was doing a drag show.
Wait. Drag king? That's the thing?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the thing.
I want to be that.
Why am I more liberal than you are?
I want to be that. I want to be a drag king.
Then be one.
I didn't know that was a thing. Go ahead.
Well,
So
there you go.
I met this comic named Anna Lepoli, and she's a great comedian. She performs everywhere, and she has a show called Comics and Drag.
They're performing here in West Palm this week on Wednesday.
I've done the comics in drag. I've worn the dress myself. Yeah.
I
have.
That's
yes, I did it at Propaganda years ago when it first started.
Yeah, and she said she was doing it in Pennsylvania in New Hope, and she wanted me to be the drag king. So I went up there and I said, hey, I got to justify being up here for, I have to do a couple other shows. So she got us onto a show in Jersey City, in New Jersey, which is great because I'm from Jersey. And a lot of my sorority sisters and some of my in-laws and stuff showed up to that show in Jersey City, and they had never seen me perform before. But I wasn't doing
awesome.
That. I was doing it straight that time, and then I was able to stay in Brooklyn, and I did a ton of open mics all throughout Manhattan and Brooklyn, and that was my justification for doing that drag show in Pennsylvania.
So
I actually want to take this opportunity just to clear up a thing that I think a lot of comics, especially new comics, always fall back on, which is when they see you out of town, they assume that's because you're doing a thing or doing another thing. And this has nothing to do with CP, by the way. There's nothing to do with you. It just has something to do with me. Because I would go to LA and I'd post like, oh, I'm at the Comedy Store, and people were like, oh, you're doing great and this and that. And it's like, no, I'm just here. I'm just doing the Comedy Store. Or I'd be in New York. Like recently this year, I went for Mark Norman and they're like, oh, you must be taking off. And it's like, no, a lot of the times it's easier to get booked outside your own community than it is to get booked inside of it. Because people that in your own community, like they know you, they've seen you, they know what you got. So a lot of times they can be very discriminatory. Whereas if you try to go outside of your city, in my case, like LA or New York, the Vegas or Seattle or whatever, it felt a lot easier to me to get booked by those people, because there's a natural like, oh, if you're reaching out, you must obviously have the goods. So there's almost like a mystery of the unknown kind of thing. So they just bring you in and they just kind of assume like, oh, if you're here, you obviously are this or that. So to me, just saying to all the new comics listening, like reach out to St. Louis, reach out to Michigan, reach out to Seattle and Las Vegas. Like, you never know. You really don't. Like, it's so much easier to get booked out of town than it is to get booked in town. That's just my opinion based on nothing.
I gotta
my
say
own
that
experience.
I know this summer I was out of town a lot, and CP had to do with a lot of those out of town bookings. Like, I know you got me at that Orlando, at the Fatfish Blue,
Right,
and
right.
then you had me at the Tuesdays last week. That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And then we just ran into each other at Vasani's. But yeah, you got
But
me.
that's a perfect example, I think.
Yeah, she got me out.
Because make one good connection, and it's really not that difficult. But it seems like such to a new comic. I remember being a new comic. I remember being a year or two in, and that seemed like, oh my God, you're doing this thing that's so insurmountable. It's really not. It's really not that hard. Just reach out to people, and you'll get booked. That's it.
CP, what has been your favorite venue to perform at? Oh, I already said that. I'm sorry. I mean, your favorite moment.
What's your proudest moment, CP?
Thank you.
Proudest moment in comedy.
I have a couple of them. It's a good question. I think one of them was getting booked at the Comedy Zone. I was a feature for a headliner, Monty Allen. That was amazing because
a feature for a headliner.
Yeah, and I felt, like, well, that was great. Also featuring for one of my mentors one time, and then him saying, "Oh my God, that was just fucking awesome." That was amazing. But I did a show about a year ago at the Boca Black Box in Boca Raton. 2.0, and Bobby Collins was in the main room and I was in the 2.0, and I was doing my set, and he walked in when I was doing my set, and then I went to go meet him afterwards because I'd never met Bobby Collins, and he's like, "Oh, you did that joke about the Jewish husbands," and he's like, "That was good," and I was like, "Oh." So that was like one of my favorite moments, I think, probably. And then maybe coming in second place at Vasani's when we were there. That was a pretty good moment for me.
I've actually worked with Bobby Collins before too. And
have you?
it sounds totally on brand. Because he's very, very ultra supportive. He knows his role, and but he kind of relishes it too, He
He's
likes
such a nice guy. He was so kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bless
you. Bless you.
So CP, Jason says this is a good guess. You guys need to repeat her 10 times.
Okay.
Thank you, Jason.
Oh, we need to repeat your full name 10 times. CP Post. CP Post. CP Post. That's 3. We'll do it a little bit later.
Okay.
Also, what has been your biggest challenge doing comedy?
Oh, my biggest challenge? I think the fact that I started
besides the vagina. Besides that.
Okay.
Excuse him, CP. I'm sorry. I don't even.
My vagina is not really a challenge. Just saying.
But she don't mean like that. She mean like that.
That came out all wrong. I didn't mean it like that.
She's hardly a woman, but she's got a good vagina. That's what she.
I think starting at 53 probably was challenging. And then you were saying that don't be afraid to go out and get those out of town bookings. I did that like in year number 2 because I did not have any time to waste. I think my age definitely was challenge. So
I feel you.
Listen, we have no time to waste here. So I just like hit the road, and my car has 65,000 miles on it that are from driving around Florida doing gigs.
And you love it.
Right? I feel you on the age thing, because when I remember my first year when I started, I remember having a conversation with other comics at the Fort Lauderdale Improv that's no longer there. But I remember having that conversation with them at the bar, like, dude, I'm 30. I'm way behind. Yeah.
You hear him? 30.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was 11
You were
years
not
ago.
behind at 30.
Look,
Shut the hell up.
It doesn't matter.
To relate.
It's how you feel.
Starting in our 40s and fucking.
Yeah, it's easy to say that
50s.
now. But imagine if you're 30 and you're going in there and there's a bunch of 18 to 21-year-olds and you're performing with them, you're going to feel like the old timer in them too.
You're trying to one up us. We're older.
I'm not trying to one up.
We started older. We started later.
I'm actually trying. I'm reinforcing your argument that if you're the oldest one in the group, it really doesn't matter how much older you are. You know, you could be the 30-year-old amongst the 18 to 21-year-old crowd. You could be the 50-year-old mixed in with the kids.
30-year-old journey to your journey at 50.
Well,
that's similar.
I'm not comparing. There is no comparison. I'm not comparing.
I think he's trying to make a point. It's valid. It's a valid point. You know, an age really is only it's more of an internal thing. It's more how you feel. At 30, he felt old. Because he was with 18-year-olds. At 56, I felt like I had one boot in the grave and I was hanging around with 18-years. I mean, I get it. You're trying to.
You're always gonna feel it. It just doesn't matter.
It makes you feel a little younger too, right?
Well, but look at Lewis Black.
CP.
He was almost.
I meant CP. I wasn't asking you. CP.
Well, I'm just saying. Look at Lewis Black. He was almost 40 before he started stand up. You know, he was in production otherwise.
Well, that makes me feel good because I was almost 40 when I started stand up, and I love me some Lewis Black. I'll be honest.
Well, there you go.
Very angry like me, but not a black woman. But all right, CP. Let's talk about you. Tell us about you in about a minute. Like, who are you? Where are you from? What's your day job? You got family? I know you got a daughter. Do you have any other projects?
Oh, okay. So, you know, I was originally from New York. I was born to two immigrants. My parents are British. So I know.
That makes. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, you know, the whole passing away of the Queen was very, very emotional for me. I am a dual citizenship. I am American and British at the same time. But no, I have two grown children. My son is in law school. My daughter is an assistant cruise director on Princess Cruises, and she's traveling throughout the Mediterranean right now. But my other projects are that I am an improver. I work with an improv troupe. And I started my own business this year. It's called Corporate Laughter, where I work with people or groups of people that are in need of like just some levity and some laughter, and it's like laughter therapy. So I do like theater games. We went into elementary schools and I worked with teachers who were really, really super stressed out because of COVID and everything. So I did a lot of theater games with them, and it just releases a lot of the anxiety. So I love working like that. And I also am a blogger. I have a blog that I do with my friend. I'm a comedy writer. My blog is called Forbidden Bromance, and we tell a lot of stories about when we were Orthodox Jews, because a lot of people don't realize that I was a very religious Jew at one point. And we have a lot of really fun stories. So go check out Forbidden Bromance. I'm now an atheist.
I didn't even know you were Jewish.
Yeah, I belonged to a very, very religious organization at one point, and my friend and I just used to make fun of it all the time, which is how I knew that I really wasn't supposed to be there. And
it's so funny how many Jewish friends I have, and literally 50% of them are now atheists. Like you're either in or you ain't.
I feel like I agree with
that.
Jewish people are more likely to like go towards atheism than all the Christian people.
Well, there's a term that was coined specifically for the Jewish population, which is, are you a practicing Jew? Like nobody ever said, are you a practicing Catholic? Or are you a practicing Muslim? No, it started with Judaism because they were like, enough's enough. And I love that. I love the fact that they were like, all right, we did it. You know, even Lewis Black, one of his best jokes was like, you light the menorah. It's like, well, 4 days in, enough's enough. Like,
all right, Carrie, that's enough.
And I'm over. I'm done.
She knows what I'm talking about. I want
a bacon sandwich. Come on.
All right.
Strangely enough, most of my close friends are Jewish. It's crazy.
If you don't want to talk about it, let me ask you: are you ready to play the blame game?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you're the guest.
I'm always ready to play the blame game.
You ready to play the blame game?
Yes.
All right. You are a Queen Elizabeth enthusiast, and you may have answered this, but I already wrote it. So who's to blame?
For what?
Her being a Queen Elizabeth enthusiast. I thought it was weird when I saw her being like, you know, and then now that she just said that she's got the dual citizenship, it obviates the need for this blame game, but it was already written.
She can never be president.
So why are you a Queen Elizabeth enthusiast? Because just because you're British doesn't mean like you have to be. But why do you? I saw that
well,
you.
Okay, so
really...
no, just to be clear, I was born in New York, so I am a U.S. citizen as well as being a British citizen. So I have dual citizenship,
which means you can be president.
Which means I actually can be president because I'm a U.S. citizen, so I can still be president.
Nope, can't have dual citizenship.
Okay, Terry, shut up. Please
you can't.
Okay.
Stop treating our guests that way.
I had to look it up because I wanted. All right, never mind.
Oh, really? All right. Well, okay. All right. I don't want to be president anyway. All right. Now, the reason why I'm a Queen enthusiast is because I lived in the UK as a child. I have very, very strong feelings about my British heritage. I'm very, you see, I am wearing black. I am very, very much of an Anglophile. I definitely identify, not a pedophile, an Anglophile. I identify very strongly with being British. It's really very, very close to my heart. And I also lived in Canada as a child too, so I got a really good education. Not a U.S. citizen.
What are you trying to say about American education, though?
It's crap.
It's shitty. It's shitty. Everybody knows it's shitty.
So I got that love of the royal family in Canada, and also, of course, when I lived in Great Britain, and I lived in a town very close to Windsor Castle, and I got to see Windsor Castle all the time. And I think that's all to blame. But you know what's really to blame? What? I'd say it's the fantastic chocolate.
The chocolate.
Chocolate in Europe is so much better than chocolate in America. I'm with her 100%. 100%. And not just in the UK, all over Europe.
All over.
No, we're almost an hour, 30 minutes over. So
Swiss chocolate is the best. I'm just throwing it out there.
I didn't get to talk about where I'm going to be this week.
That's what I was going to say. CP, do you have any shows coming up? Yes. Anything you want to promote, and your social media, please?
Oh, okay. So my social media, my Instagram is CP Post Comedian. Is that what you want? Yeah. Okay. Facebook is CP Post. My website, I have a website, cppostcomedian.com. I am going to be traveling tomorrow up to the Panhandle. I'm going to be doing a show in Tallahassee called at the Bird Aphrodisiac Oyster in Tallahassee, and then I'm going to be doing Jason Hedden's show, House of Bourbon in Panama City, and I'm going to do Friday and Saturday at the library on Beck, which is Compton Smith's show in Panama City. So I'm going to be up there 4 days, 4 shows, and then I'd love to promote my show, which I do here in Sarasota. It's the first Tuesday of every month. It's called Tuesdays Ladies, which Giovanni.
No, it's called Tuesdays.
Well, the place is called Tuesdays. The show is called Tuesdays Ladies. Yeah, Giovanni was so gracious and did the show. You were awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
And I'm going to be back there actually on the 24th doing a show called the Ray Fix Fashion Halloween Show. I've got a couple comedians that I'm going to be doing that show with. I'm hosting it. Wow, there's so many things. Yeah, so, and then I'll be back at Pisani's for more competition on the 27th. So
that's right. If y'all remember, I went to the Pisani's competition. She placed for the finals, so she's going to be there soon. All right. CP, you're amazing. Stick around. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Time for Terry Wayne's Words for White People.
Before we get there, I just had one more thing to say on the other thing. The only reason that I know that about the dual citizenship is because me and my lady have been talking about having a kid. And if we do, we've agreed that the last month for pregnancy, we will spend in Canada so that the kid will be born in Canada, and we'll have dual citizenship between Canada and the US. So it'll get all the free healthcare and university that it wants from Canada, but can still live in the US. And in doing that research, we found out, the only thing is can't run for president. Can run can run for state and local elections, but not for president.
Okay,
That's the only reason I mentioned that.
Is that your word for white people?
No, it isn't. No, but I've
that.
gotten so few words in edgewise. I just felt
sure.
like I got to throw that in there. Every time I talk, she's interrupted me tonight. She's in rare form. This time we're talking again about we did it about a year ago. We're going to bring back up to my fellow honkies perception, because it's all about perception. It's all about what you perceive to be true. That's life. Your whole life comes down to your perception, which means it should be the most important thing in your life. And it seems like for a lot of people that look and think and come from the place that I do, it's the last thing they ever think about. Because remember, your perception has the ability to distort every single thing that comes into your world to be the way that you already want it to be. You already have your mind made up. So everything that comes into your world, if it supports it, then you love it. And if it doesn't, then you hate it. But the problem with that perception and holding strong to that perception that you have is that it not only holds back your life with the world and your engagement with others, but it holds back your own progress into being the better self, the person that you could be. Ernest Hemingway once said, there is no nobility in being superior to your fellow man. The only true nobility is being superior to your former self. And the only thing that holds all of us back from that is that perception. This is why I have encouraged all the people in my life, be it family, friends, or anybody, leave the country, go to somewhere else, go to somewhere that you think is scary. Look at different ways of being. Look at the different ways that people live. Know that the way that you were raised and the way that you live your life is not the only way to live your life. It's not the only way to be happy. It's not the only way to be successful. You have to open your mind up, and you have to open up your perception. And this comes down to everything from supporting police. Yeah, you probably do support police. Of course you do, because you look like me and they've never really harassed you. But you have to be empathetic to somebody whose perception is different, where they are worried and they are scared about being harassed by the police, because that's their perception. That's what they grew up with. You have to open up your mind with that. And that's why I always say that international travel is the best thing you can do for any person's mind on the planet. Going somewhere else and seeing that life is different, the same way that a lot of American folks that look and think and come from the place that I do, they look at the rest of the world and they say, yeah, they all want to come here because it's so great. Yeah, well, how do you fucking know? You've never been anywhere. Go to somewhere else and learn the way they live, and then maybe things will change for you. And that's why, even though, yes, I divorced my ex-wife, I owe her a great debt that I can never repay, because she is German and was from Germany, and she took me to Europe and showed me there was a different way that people lived. There was a different way. And she took me all over Europe, and just being with her family in Germany, watching her father wake up every morning at 7:00, getting me up and saying, all right, we're going to ride bikes down to the bakery to get the bread for the day. That's it. Just having spending €4 just to buy the bread for the day, because we don't buy bread for the week. We don't, you know what I mean? We don't let them put chemicals in our food. We don't let them put chemicals in our food to make it last a week. We buy the bread every day for that day. And because it's healthier for us. So we make that
gluten free. I'm sorry.
Well, it's definitely not gluten free, but it's no, but it is fresh. And by the end of the day, it's stale and it's old, and you throw it out or you give it to the animals or whatever. But it's a mixture of that different lifestyle based on what you've already had and what you've grown up with versus what somebody else does. And that kind of grows your mind and allows you to have different perspectives on different things. And that makes you a more well-rounded, a more thought-provoking person that can come up with better ideas and can come up with a better future for yourself. It's not just doing it so that you can be more empathetic to others. It's about doing it so you can be the best version of yourself. And you can't do that without education. And the best education is seeing it, living it, and doing it. All right, honkies, that's it.
All right. Thank you for those words for white people, Terry. Jason loved them. Jason fucking loved them. He said, I love Terry. This is a great part. Go to Philly. Go to Camden. Yeah. Go learn there's a different way of life than yours. Bake your own bread, hippie. So,
And I said I do bake my own bread.
Terry, do you have any upcoming shows this week?
I don't know if it's this week. No, the next show I have is I'm doing propaganda for Gaetano on the 24th.
Wow. He booked you at propaganda and has not booked me. Okay.
Well,
Gaetano,
no,
I see you, Gaetano.
It's not a personal thing. I reached out to him to see if propaganda was going this past Saturday because I was going to go by and just do a spot on the open mic, but he said no, it's not going this week. But if you want to come out on the 20th,
think about it. But okay, so you're at propaganda.
You got to reach out, people. You got to reach out.
You're at propaganda when?
24th.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I don't have a show. I've been asked to do this open mic. That's this. It's like a lot of spoken word and music, but I'm gonna be on it.
Those are great crowds.
Yeah, they are. It's Uproar Comedy or Uproar, and just follow me on social media. I will be sharing it on probably like on Instagram or something. But it's Thursday night and it's in West Palm, so please come out. Other than that, my next show is the week after, and I can tell y'all next week because we'll be
definitely go to that show because the spoken word and the poetry crowds and the musician crowds, those are always the best crowds, and it's always the best shows.
I've done the show with them before. Thank you.
I'm telling everybody like they should go to that show because it's always the best crowds, and a good crowd means a good show. So you should definitely go. That's what I was.
I just want to say that I am gonna be posting some OnlyFans content tonight. So follow me on OnlyFans. You can find me at Blamegirls with an S. And then BGX is my username. So I'm gonna be getting some content up tonight.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, right. All right.
I'll be throwing tips out. Oh, make it rain.
All right, I'm moving this month, so it's a moving special, y'all. Come to OnlyFans and tip me, please. I need it. All right. CP, thank you for joining us. You've been good. Stay around till I end the meeting. But until next week, OnlyFans.